Hello, and welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
I'm Hex.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
We've got a huge show lined up for you this week. We're going to be checking out a brand new Mario game.
Don't blow a fuse, Darren, but yes, it's the new Mario Super Mario Brothers 2. All new one.
Plus, Bajo and Hex will be answering your questions at the Ask Good Game desk.
That's right, Darren, but first, I think we should have a look at Book of Unwritten Tales.
Guys, I wouldn't say point-and-click adventure games are necessarily my favourite genre, but I've played some pretty memorable ones in my time as a gamer, most of which have been sort of smaller-scale indie titles. But this game is certainly not small, however it is memorable. The Book of Unwritten Tales is big, epic fantasy.
Yes, if you're not usually into these types of games, this might be the point-and-clicker to convert you. You follow the story of three characters: Ivo, a savvy elf; Wilbur, an uncertain little gnome; and Nate, a cocky adventurer, who are all drawn into the same mighty quest.
And you don't want to tell me what this thing is? Are you scared I'll go off looking for it myself?
The realm is at war, and an old gremlin and archaeologist Mortimer MacGuffin holds the secret of a powerful and mysterious artifact. And whoever claims it as their own will determine the fate of the world. The first thing you'll notice about this game is incredibly polished art style with bright, vibrant colours and some seriously impressive graphics. This is classic fantasy stuff.
And even better is the writing.
Affirmative, Bajo. But I couldn't help but notice that there are a few similarities in some of the themes and ideas in this game to a certain iconic fantasy series by J.R.R. Tolkien.
You see this ring? It's the key. Take it to the human archmage in the town of Seastone. You understand?
Well, rest assured, Darren, this is all on purpose. The dialogue in this game is packed full of humour and lots of references from Lord of the Rings and other fiction, poking fun at all those cliché fantasy tropes that we've come to know and love and recognise.
Help us, Master Alistair. You're our only hope.
The characters are really likeable too, and as you click your way through each room, they'll give you hints about how each object in the room can be useful to you.
A small circular opening in the ground. It's decorated with an ancient script, just like the picture on the wall.
And better still is the voice acting. They've pulled in a brilliant cast of English voice actors to fill this story with just bags full of personality. I often got so engrossed in the stories they'd tell that I forgot I was playing a game. And it's so funny, I was chuckling all the way through.
In any other reasonable role-playing game, you have to kill 100 rats to reach the second level. Now that's a real game.
Affirmative. The humour is indeed top-notch. At one point, when playing as Wilbur, I was searching for a wizard to help me on my quest. When I found him, he appeared to be thoroughly engrossed in an online fantasy role-playing game set in a made-up world without orcs or dragons, but where he played as a level 42 banker on a quest to get his taxes lodged.
Yes, that was very clever, and I love how this game doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very self-aware.
Why would anyone flee from their own world into a fantasy world in order to complete meaningless tasks?
So it's got a good sense of humour, it's well written, it looks good. How did the puzzles stack up for you, Hex?
I thought they were a good solid level of difficulty. They rely on your standard mouse over and clicking on things to find out more about them, picking up items and combining them to solve each problem, with your inventory cleverly hidden at the bottom of the screen, which I really liked. I mean, you know, nothing too mind-bending, but enjoyable.
Yeah, I think the key to getting through each challenge is to really listen out for those audio clues. The adventurers will often say something which may seem a bit throwaway, but it's actually a very important hint as to what you need to do in that room to get through.
The chair looks just like the chair the demon is sitting on. I guess it's a replacement chair.
I did find it annoying that you often had to click on certain items multiple times before you could pick them up. Sometimes I even had to search a box several times to get all the items I needed out of it.
Here's a needle and some thread. And here are 3 small glass vials filled with coloured potions, all tightly corked.
Yeah, you do have to be really thorough, but that's part of the point-and-click adventure, isn't it? Exploring every possible option, hunting for clues, and using that lateral thinking to try and work out how you can combine some items to create new ones.
Yeah, what I like most about these puzzles, though, is it makes real-world sense. Things like brewing coffee or combining items to create a fishing rod, it's not all crazy and wacky that the only way you can figure it out is by simply clicking on everything and see what works. If stuck, you simply have to think, what would I actually do in that situation? And 9 times out of 10, that's your answer.
Yeah, and there's a great victory melody that plays when you figure it out as well.
Excellent.
But we should wrap this up, guys. What did you think of it?
Yes, well, this is tried and true fantasy done really well, and it's written so well too. You can tell a lot of love has gone into every part of this game. If pressed to find fault, I'd say that some of the conversations were a little bit long, but you can just skip through them.
Yeah, I think my only quibble is that some of the puzzles involved a little bit too much back and forth between locations. But adventure is about journey and exploration after all, and each location was just more exciting than the last. I thought this was spectacular, guys. I highly recommend it. It's funny, it's clever, and it's just really well made. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 as well. Right, I'm off to read the news. Just gonna bring up the hoodie. And I'm off.
You can't see in that.
Ah! Bajo here at the Spawn Point News Desk. We've seen some interesting Mario-inspired creations come out of Trials Evolution's level editor. However, user Patrick Bellick has put all of those to shame after recreating the entire first level, level 1-1, from Super Mario Bros. Bellick even managed to accurately replicate the Italian plumber's various animations, coin blocks, secret pipes, and the end of level flag. It's amazing! That's the emergency news phone! This is only for the most important news ever. Hello, Bajo here. Go ahead, news president.
It is Darren speaking.
Darren, this is the emergency line. You're only meant to call if there's super emergency news.
Of course,
or
I
if you
have a breaking
cupcakes
news
ready for
story.
me. Do you?
An urgent breaking news story.
Okay,
I'll send it through.
Send it through.
Affirmative.
Okay. Thanks, Darren. It's been working out.
Affirmative.
News just in from Darren. A team from the Johns Hopkins University has created an animation of what it would be like to fly through our universe at millions of times the speed of light. The animation shows approximately 400,000 galaxies in their accurate positions within the universe based on data gathered by the Sloan Digital Sky Survey. This data represents only a small fraction of the universe, detailing galaxies approximately 1.3 billion light years from Earth, with current theory putting the edge of the observable universe at about 47 billion light years away. For reference, that's really far. That's a long way. And in a slightly more down-to-earth story, Brazilian animator Joe Penna has created an animated music video using the unlikely spreadsheet program Microsoft Excel. Joe first performed the song in front of a green screen and then broke down the video into 730 individual frames. He then turned each frame into a spreadsheet and put them together to create the final product. And that's the news for this week. Oh, tough questions today, Hex. Hex, if I can be honest with you for a moment, do you feel overwhelmed by the sheer responsibility of answering all of these quite difficult questions and getting them right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we get them wrong, we have to drink from the noob cup, which is terrible, but it is our job, Bajo.
It is our job, and we must do our job. Oh no. Oh no. What did I just say? These questions are so easy today, don't you think, Hex? Don't you think? Do you think they're so easy? I'm Bajo here at the Spawn Point desk. I was just answering some easy questions. May I ask who's speaking, please?
Hello, Bajo. It's me, Darren.
Oh, g'day, Darren. How you doing?
I couldn't help but notice that you were having some trouble with the questions today.
No, we're fine, Darren. We got these.
Wait a minute. We are really snowed under this week. Would it be so bad if we asked Darren to help out just a little bit?
Darren, I've got to go. Darren. I've got to go.
Just consider me
Let's just move on to the first question. And this question is from Ethan, who is in Curry, which is in New South Wales.
Just ignoring me now?
I'm ignoring you. Just what you said. Don't want to sound like a noob, but can you explain what you mean when you talk about RPG, RTS, FPS, platform games, and other stuff? And Darren should dress up as Daxter on the Jack games. Darren to Daxter! P.S. Love your show. P.P.S. Bajo is radical and awesome. Well, thanks. You're totes awesome and radical for saying so. But Hex, we've got this one covered, right? We know what all of these things stand for.
Yeah, this one we should be okay.
Yeah, we don't need Darren's help at all.
Yeah. So, Ethan, RPG is short for role-playing game, and you can usually tell if a game is an RPG because you'll start off with a level 1 character, and as you play, you'll level them up and collect bigger and better gear and go on quests and that sort of thing. Games like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy are a couple of examples.
Whereas an RTS stands for real-time strategy, and these are games where you usually gather resources to build and command an army from a top-down view. Halo Wars or Age of Empires are real-time strategy games.
Yeah, and you play in real time as opposed to a turn-based strategy where players take it in turns. Civilization is a good example of a turn-based game. And FPS stands for first-person shooter, and first-person just means that you play like you're actually playing from inside the character's perspective and looking through their eyes, like Portal 2, although really that's more of a first-person puzzle game, so I guess that's an FPP.
Yeah.
You may have also heard of third-person games. That's where the camera is outside your character and you spend the game looking at their back. And there's tons of examples of those, like Jak and Daxter or Skylanders.
Yeah, but Jak and Daxter is also an example of a platformer. You can tell platformers pretty easily because they involve a lot of jumping onto platforms, hence the name. And these come in two distinct flavors, with flat 2D platformers like New Super Mario Bros. And Rayman Origins, or 3D ones like Super Mario Galaxy and Crash Bandicoot.
Another acronym we use a lot is MMO, which stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Games. These are games that have thousands of players in the same online server. Most of them are actually MMORPGs, which, if you've been paying attention, you'll know what it stands for. Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. Phew. A few examples would be RuneScape or Moshi Monsters.
Hey, I've got one, LMO. What does that stand for, X? Do you know what that stands for?
Laughing my...
No.
LMO.
I don't. That's okay, Hex.
Laughing my
Let's move on.
octopus? Laughing my orange...
This one's from Mr. Awesome in Marshmallow Land outside Australia.
Laughing my otter? Hi guys, do you know some good FPS games that are only rated PG? P.S. Bajo and Hex, you guys are awesome, and Darren, you are a noob.
Well, Mr. Awesome, we have tackled this question before, and we said that there aren't really any good ones. But you know what? I actually found one that looks okay.
Okay, well, what's it called?
It's called Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. It's an old Xbox game, but you can get it on PC, and it was even remastered in high definition a little while ago for PS3. And there's apparently even a Vita version in the works. It's a great quirky shooter where you go around collecting bounties and using live critters for ammunition. It's also got some third-person bits, but there's plenty of first-person stuff too.
Yeah, that was a great game. I'm kind of surprised that it's only PG though, considering you're shooting with live animals. But anyway, moving on to this one from Mushroom, who is under the desk. Maybe they've gone.
Maybe it's really tiny mushroom.
Okay. In New South Wales.
Hello, I have asked this question like 1,000,000,001 times. Colin, I just got Pocket Planes for iOS, and I want to know how to get bigger planes with more seats. If you don't answer, I won't be a mushroom. I will turn into a noob. And in Mario Kart 7, the Rainbow Road is so hard. From Mushroom.
Well, Mushroom, there are a couple of things you have to do to get access to bigger planes. Firstly, you have to level up by playing for a while and delivering jobs, since you only get access to larger planes at higher levels. You'll get some pretty decent planes around level 10, but you'll need to get up to about level 30 before you can get the big jumbo jets.
Then once you're a high enough level, just go into the menu, select the Market button, and you'll find some of the planes available to you. It's worth noting as well that you won't always be offered the best planes to buy, so you might have to wait for new items to come into the market.
And you'll also need to have a spare plane slot available and plenty of bucks to buy the new planes, as the big jumbos set you back almost 500 bucks.
Yes, but before we move on, I want to give a big shout out to all the spawnlings in the Good Game Flight crew. You guys are nailing it. At the moment, we're coming 11th in the world on the current challenge. Go team.
Anyway, moving on to this one now from, in Town, outside Australia.
It's awesome
I
that...
took a stab at that, I just really didn't know how to
I
pronounce.
think that's how you pronounce it. Let me just check my database of pronunciations.
Emoticon.
Let me just hang on, I'll just play it for you. I'll play it for you. This is the official sounding of what it sounds like by the database.
That's what I did. That was pretty much. That was pretty close.
That's pretty good.
Pretty close.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty cool to have your name named after the town you live in. Yeah, I was born in Steventown.
You weren't.
But my name is Bajo, so they got that completely wrong.
You change your story all the time about where you're from. You're an international man of mystery.
That's because I slip between dimensions like a ninja.
And a Time Lord. Apparently.
Have you got the time? Hey guys, in your Minecraft world, the rail split at one point. How did you do that? I need to know. From
I thought we agreed that it's pronounced
Oh, it depends which dialect you're using.
Well, what do you mean which dialect? English?
It's different dialects of English, depending on where you're from, where you're born. If you're born in Steventown, you say it like that.
Steventown doesn't exist. Well, it wasn't too complicated. Basically, you can get a piece of rail to change direction by using either a redstone dust or a redstone torch and sending a signal through that. It's kind of the same principle we use to create our minecart launchers.
Oh, phone's ringing. Do you like my new ringtone? I just put it on then. Pretty funky. Shows your dance moves, Hex. They're great. Hello, Bajo speaking.
Hello, it's Darren again.
Hi, Darren. I knew it would be you because you always call me when I'm doing things busy. What can I help
wanted
you?
to clarify a
Oh.
point specifically with our Minecraft
Okay.
house. See, in the case of our rail...
Hang on, Darren. Let me put you on speaker so Hex can hear you too.
All right.
How do I...
It's just here if you just toggle it in the... Okay.
Can you hear me now, Darren?
Affirmative.
Hello, Darren, are you there?
Are you there?
Affirmative.
Are you there, Darren?
In the case of our rail, we basically just put a redstone torch directly underneath the section of rail we needed to change direction. Then we ran a redstone wire back up to the house, using redstone repeaters every few blocks to keep the signal strong. Then we attached a switch at the exit of the house to activate and deactivate the torch so we could switch directions from the house. So as you can see, when the redstone torch is switched on, the rail goes this way, but when it's off, it goes back that way, allowing us to create a rail that splits.
Oh, nice one, Darren.
Thanks very much for that,
That's
Darren.
really helpful.
Hey, Darren, what are you up to this weekend?
Oh, I was just going to pop over to Mars. I was going to say hello to the Curiosity
Did they end
rover.
up finding water on Mars,
The
Darren?
Mars
Well,
rover,
we're still
that's so
looking, but
cool.
it's very promising. Actually, we're also going to...
What did you do that for? I wanted to hear more about the Mars rover. That's so awesome.
Sounds funny.
Yeah,
Sounds funny.
but the Curiosity...
Let's move on to this from Jacob in Lawton, Queensland.
Just picture them having a little tea party together.
Yeah.
Just roving around like
Yeah.
little buddies.
Yeah.
Please, can you put Batman, the Brave and the Bold on PS3?
You still there, Darren?
Affirmative.
Nice talking to you.
Well, sorry, Jacob, but no, we can't do that. We really have no say in what platforms the games are released on. That's all up to the game's publishers and the developers. Batman Brave and the Bold is actually a Wii exclusive, so there's not much we can do to bring it over to the PS3. Sorry.
Actually, Hex, I bet I could put Batman Brave and the Bold on a PS3 right now in a second.
No, you
Bet I can. I
couldn't.
bet you that computer I
You
can.
couldn't.
I bet you your laptop.
Look, unless
I bet
you
the borrowing
wrote
of your laptop
a
for an hour I
letter
can do
to
that.
the publishers and the game developers and said,
I just
ignore
have
all your
a-
business agreements
a PS3
and your,
right
and your
here.
money deals and all that kind of stuff.
So-
I want to...
Hex, what's that?
Well, that's a PS3.
What's this?
Well, that's Batman Brave and the Bold. So you physically put the game on the PS3.
If you have any more questions, please send them into this website here.
I don't think that's quite what Jacob was asking. If you've got questions, feel free to send them in here and we'll try to answer them for you. It's just silly. Bajo. I just don't think that's what he meant.
That's exactly what I meant. I think everyone should just own all the consoles.
I
just-
think you're
just
being
in
a
case
bit
Batman
silly.
comes out or something special.
And I think we should just get on with the review. Every now and again, a familiar theme song rings out in the GGSP offices, signaling the return of one of gaming's greatest mascots.
Ah, yes.
What song is that?
Come on, Darren.
No, we're about to review Mario, so I thought you would sing the Mario theme song. What song is that? Da 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 da
Mario.
Yeah, well, that's at least from the right game.
Mario, it's from Mario. It's when you go to the jazz level.
Yes, Mario is back in New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS, the follow-up to the popular Wii and DS titles.
After traipsing through 3D environments in his last adventure, he's now returned to his 2D side-scrolling roots.
Guys, calling this game new is a bit of a stretch. I mean, it's really just more of the same, isn't it? I feel like the series is really relying on nostalgia to try and keep players involved, and after so many trips back to the Mushroom Kingdom, it's hard to find anything that's actually new about this game at all.
I know what you mean, and I know the story isn't a huge strong point when it comes to Mario games, but literally 20 seconds after you've finished saving Princess Peach and Mario and Luigi are waving goodbye, this happens. What are you doing, Peach? Why do you keep getting yourself kidnapped?
Oh, I know, she needs some bodyguards or learn to defend herself or something. Let's give her a fire flower, anything.
Absolutely.
The rest of the game is full of the usual bright and cheery action we've come to know and love from the series. There are heaps of well-crafted levels, lots of secrets to discover, and of course those tight platforming controls that feel better than ever.
There are 6 main worlds with an additional 3 bonus worlds adding up to around 80 levels. And while many of these revisit the usual Mario environments like snow, desert and lava, the levels themselves are all cleverly constructed with plenty of puzzles and secrets to discover.
I do think if you're an old school Mario player, a lot of the shine will start to wear off with this one, and I don't think the power-ups were really up to scratch this time around.
And we should mention that the new spin on the game this time is coins. Lots and lots of coins. Each level is filled with more cash than we've ever seen in a Mario game. As you run about collecting these shiny discs of gold, the game will keep a running tally with the ultimate goal of reaching 1 million coins.
As such, all the new power-ups are focused on increasing your wallet size. Gold bricks stick to your head and shoot out plentiful amounts of money, and the new golden flower makes everything Mario touches turn to gold. Oh, so many coins.
The problem is, 100 coins still equals an extra life, so by the time I'd finished the game, I had 120 extra lives. It's hardly challenging.
Yeah, especially with that white invincible Tanuki leaf making a return. I mean, if you die too many times, you can just use the suit to fly through the level. Where's the challenge in that?
I think the developers of this game are assuming that spawnlings aren't very good at games, and they are very good at games, and I think they could have something much harder and have a much better time.
Yeah, it's like they've tried to aim it at a really young market, but then underestimated the fact that spawnlings are really good at games and don't need something this easy.
Yeah.
We should remember, however, that for any spawnlings out there who might not have played any games from the series growing up, these assists will come in very handy when it comes to teaching them how to play.
Well, that's true, Darren, but that's why we have difficulty levels in games. You know, it's a fine line, I think. But this is a very well-constructed game, there's no denying that. To add to the longevity, there is now a coin rush mode that allows players to race through 3 random levels collecting as much as possible.
You can then compete against other 3DS owners using Street Pass to see who has the best times and scores. But unfortunately, there are no leaderboards to show off my amazing high scores.
Another addition which we have seen before is co-op. If another friend has the game, then they can jump in via Wi-Fi and play as Luigi. But I don't know, I just found it so chaotic trying to play in co-op on that tiny screen.
Yeah, I'm glad it's there though. But the 3D doesn't add anything to it here, not like it did with Super Mario Land 3D. But we should wrap this up, Hex. Final thoughts?
You know, I'm so conflicted because this is such a well-made game and I love Mario, but I wish they'd bring something actually new to this series. And you know, that next Wii U title looks like it's going to be even more of the same. So, I don't know, maybe next time Peach can go and rescue herself. I'm giving it 6.5.
Yeah, that Wii U game I have played a tiny bit of, and it did just feel like 2D Mario with some touchscreen interaction, but it also felt quite fun. Like you say, it is a well-made game. It is also very short though, only a few hours if you race through it. I'm conflicted too, Hex, but I'm going to give it 7.
Well, while I can respect your well-constructed arguments, I feel I must interject. Mario veterans might not like this game, they might not find it challenging, but for younger spawnlings, they might just find that Mario still has the Midas touch. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
All right, well, thank you, Darren.
Can he do that?
I think he just did.
Affirmative.
Thinks he can do what he likes sometimes.
Affirmative.
Why don't we just go home and you can do the goodbye by yourself?
Don't put ideas in his head.
Why don't we do that? Let's
You know,
go.
he would do that.
Let's go. Darren can do it by himself. See you, Darren.
I can bring in dirt.
My chair with me.
Really?
Some other robots.
See you next week.
I don't need a chair. You can take it. Bye.